And in the big scheme of things, everything is okay. Like, it looks terrible. It looks very much not okay, but everything's okay. Like, everyone's fine. As I understand it, everyone's fine. Hello, neighbors. Now, if you're watching this, you probably clicked on it because I gave you a clickbaity enough or enough of a click tease title to get you to click on it. I'm not going to draw this on too long. You didn't click on it because you wanted to watch me talk. So here's the clips. We'll go straight to video. What happened was a Union Pacific train. Looks like it was just all coal cars. Got derailed between Fremont and Valley. I want to put out first is that I did make some calls. There's always someone who watches a YouTube video with drones that wants to give a commentary about, like, oh, should you have been flying there? Did you do this right? Did you do that right? And blah, blah, blah. Basically, someone wants to be the neighborhood watch, which I get it. That's fair. I did make multiple calls before I did this flight. First, I called Dodge County Sheriff, and I asked him if there's any flight restrictions with aerial photography, particularly with drones. They said they weren't aware of anyone, but I should call Nebraska State Patrol. So I called Nebraska State Patrol, and I talked to a lady named LeMay, I believe. I affiliated the name to a Air Force general from World War II, so I don't know if that was actually her name or that's what I heard. So she told me that she was not aware of any flight restrictions either, but I should call Union Pacific Railroad. So I called Union Pacific Railroad, and I went through a whole line of automated dial things where it's like press 1 for this, press 2 for that, press 3 for this. And eventually I got to one I think was involving reporting accidents or blockages. I'm not sure. But I got a hold of James. And I talked to James. I was like, is there any flight restrictions? And James said, there's only a flight restrictions, and this is where it's news to me. He's like, there's only flight restrictions over UP property. So I could fly adjacent to it, but I can't fly over it. And just to be doubly safe, to make sure I didn't violate this, even though that was kind of new to me. I've never heard of a private entity having ownership of airspace over a property. Usually that's all within FAA regulation. But this was the first I've heard of a private entity having jurisdiction of the airspace over the property. But just to make sure I was compliant, I went the extra effort or extra mile, actually an extra couple miles, because I shot from one side of the highway, drove to the other side, and then took off again from a separate side to get the additional shots. So I used my due diligence to be safe on this and be compliant. Another thing I want to say about when I took this flight is when I drove by this incident initially, I drove right down the highway. I noticed there's no ambulances there. There's nothing to suggest that there'd be life flights going in and out of the area. Using that knowledge and the phone calls I made, I felt pretty safe about making this flight. Okay, now let's get on to the actual topic. So the train came off the tracks. Why did it come off the tracks? I don't know, and I didn't know who to talk to, at least on the ground. I kind of got the impression they were a little busy at the moment, not terribly enthused to have some guy come by with a drone and start pestering them with questions. But here's the benefit about me being a hay farmer. I sell hay to a guy who retired from the railroad as a general manager or something managerial within the railroad industry. And he has seen and told several stories of trains coming off the tracks. So I called him. I was like, in what instance, or what would explain a train that's on flat level ground, no curves, nothing to suggest there's any obstacles, what would make a train just come off the tracks? And he's like, well, it could be a number of things. One, it could be some bad axles that come off. That would make the train go, come off the tracks. And he said it could be bad tracks. But here's what was funny about this. When I told him the train came off the tracks and there was a derailment, he kind of just said this, okay. Like, he said it with as much casualness as I would say to someone, and this is me coming from the garbage industry, having driven garbage trucks. But he said it with as much casualness as me saying, oh, a garbage truck took out a mailbox. It was kind of like if someone told me, hey, a garbage truck took out a mailbox, they might think this is tragic. Like, this is not supposed to happen. To me, thinking, a garbage truck took out a mailbox. Okay. Like, no surprise there. Let's replace it. And he's had the exact same casual reaction to trains coming off the tracks. Like, yeah, they do that. Like, sometimes that happens. Then another thing he told me is like, you'll be surprised with how quick they have this cleaned up. He's like, they're going to call every contractor out there that has any piece of heavy equipment that can either pick up the cars or pick up the coal and get that cleaned up, and then pull all that wreckage away, get that thing cleared, and then bring in new equipment to replace the line. Because he's like, you got to understand, every hour that that rail line is closed, every hour that they cannot deliver product, they're costing it like hundreds of thousands of dollars of lost revenue. He's like, so it's going to cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars to clean it up because of all the contractors they have to bring in and all the extra heavy equipment they have to bring in to clean this stuff up and get it towed away. And he's like, and then there's all the money they're going to lose from the stuff not getting delivered. He's like, it's expensive. He's like, they have the logistics to get this thing done fast. And I kind of wish I was able to stick around longer, like for an extended amount of time, and kind of see how the process unfolds and maybe find someone to talk to. But this guy's got a daytime job and a family and some obligations, so I really can't float around too much. There was a tremendous amount of luck that I was able to get this. I'm very, very happy that no one was injured in this instance, and that me being able to shoot this video was not necessarily a happy ending to it, but I could do it with the peace of mind that, you know, there's no one that's actually hurt. Getting off topic a little bit, I would feel a little guilty if I was making a YouTube video about someone that would have injured or maimed someone. Like, I feel a little gross about that. So I was kind of happy to be able to shoot this video. And in the big scheme of things, everything is okay. Like, it looks terrible. It looks very much not okay, but everything's okay. Like, everyone's fine. As I understand it, everyone's fine. So, awesome. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button on either this YouTube video, or if you're seeing this on Facebook, if it's embedded on Facebook, you can hit the like button and follow my Facebook page. MyAirImage.com is my website. It's pretty low maintenance, or it's pretty low rent at the moment. I don't do much with it. I'm in the process of rebuilding it, and I want to build some blog sections and maybe some more news journalistic approach to some items. I might try to take that spin on things. It's a work in progress. So you can follow me along that way or support me that way, and I'll be posting either pretty pictures, and I'm going to use the website and Facebook as a way to showcase some interesting photography and journalistic stories where I see it necessary or interesting to me. And if it's interesting to you, awesome. If not, whatever. I'm still going to be doing this because I enjoy it. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day, and catch you later.